Temple, Stevensport, and Addison all want to be seeking shelter at this time because of the core of that rotation right over the top of you right now, especially the Stevensport area. So zooming back in on where we have the potential of some of this rotation, again, there's some bright areas here. This is probably about 50-mile-per-hour winds. It's a little distance from the radar, so we're not seeing exactly on the ground, just a little bit aloft, maybe 1,500 feet to 2,000 feet above ground level, some 50-mile-per-hour winds. Not incredible amount of rotation at this time. We've seen these kind of pulse up where we get a lot of rotation, and then we see the rotation kind of weaken and become a little bit disorganized as well. So let's go ahead and zoom out and look at the broad view here with our reflectivity. And we do have several areas of thunderstorms that are pretty strong across the area. Most of the activity has been out to the west. We have another severe thunderstorm warned storm in eastern Shelby County that's going to be moving into Franklin County very soon. That one is obviously very strong. There is some hail in here as well as that is crossing Interstate 64. We also have our storm chaser John Humphreys that has been on Interstate 64 just out to the west of Louisville, that has been on the way to track some of these thunderstorms. So if we do see some video from him, we'll be checking in on John Humphreys, our storm chaser, as well. So you want to be seeking shelter too here if you're in Frankfort. This storm is crossing over Interstate 64 and Shelbyville Road. That is a very strong thunderstorm. Thankfully, we're not seeing signs of rotation with that, but any of these storms could put down some microburst or macroburst winds, which means strong straight line winds, the kind of wind that did damage in Marion County yesterday that could be in excess of 70 or 80 miles per hour. So we have another cell up to the north. There's no warning on that in parts of Lawrence County, just to the southeast of Bedford. Our main concern at the moment, again, this tornado warned storm, and this goes again until what is this, 5 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Central Time and 5 p.m. Eastern Time is how long this tornado warned area is. The threat continues. So we've got it moving into the Irvington area, Guston, Brandenburg over the next 15 minutes or so. We've got a mix of Central and Eastern times because the time zone switches right here. Fort Knox at about 6:48 into Fishtown, heads up at around 7 o'clock. Again, if it holds together. These are so far out, these times, because it is a slow moving storm, and there's a good indication that this could weaken by the time it does move into some of these areas. We will watch it very closely though, of course. Hail core is right over the top of the Ohio River right now, and that is in the northern, very northern kind of triangle here, the tip of Breckenridge County, and that usually indicates over an inch size hail. So there could be quarter to inch size hail with this. That is moving over the Ohio River right now. That says 2 inch. Usually with the warmth of the atmosphere, we'll divide that in half. So we could have some quarter to ping pong ball size hail crossing the Ohio River, along with the potential of a tornado as well. So definitely be seeking shelter, lowest level of your home, away from the doors and the windows. And Alden, as this threat continues, let's just get some of the tips, the safety tips here for some folks for the rest of this afternoon into the early evening time. We have a severe thunderstorm watch that will continue until 8 p.m. You just want to find a sturdy shelter away from the doors and the windows, much distance as you can get away from the windows, basically, in case they break and debris flies around, preferably the basement. Abandon the mobile homes if you have time to do so. If the storms aren't there and that threat exists, you want to find a sturdier shelter to hang out in before that severe weather could hit your area. Have that severe weather safety kit ready to go. You could include your first aid kit, flashlights, candles, charged cell phones, maybe some pillows and blankets to help block any debris that might occur. So again, back to the radar here, and we are looking at an active weather day here thanks to a warm front that is lifting through the area, and we have just a lot of energy for these storms, a lot of unstable air. This storm kind of exploding on the north end as well, kind of expanding out. The northern section not severe at this time, but we're going to watch every one of these cells because they pulse up and pulse down very quickly. There's another strong thunderstorm that's just east of Bedford. We have heavy rainfall, blinding rain. There's been some accidents and backups just from the heavy rainfall that's been on Interstate 64 here over the last hour, reported from our storm chaser, John Humphreys. Let's go back to reflectivity. Let's see the trends here, or I'm sorry, the velocity that is, Alden, and we'll see that we'll probably still have a little bit of rotation in here. Just to get your bearings, there's the west end of Louisville right there. So this is, again, about 30 miles to the southwest of Louisville. Zooming back in, we've got, what do you think here, Alden? Just that rotation is not real organized at this time.
No, it's not. Just looking at the trends over the last hour or so, even just on the reflectivity, it looks like it's kind of caught up with itself, so to say. So it's maybe beginning to rain out just a little bit. I'll put this into motion here over the last hour, and you can see where that rotation is just a little bit, but it was pretty quick. But we aren't really seeing those tight colors there as we were before. And also, just as a note, the Weather Service did cancel that severe thunderstorm warning in Harrison County. That's just to the west of Metro Louisville here, but we are still looking at that tornado warning at the moment. And if we check out some of these wind speeds here, and again, this is a couple hundred feet off above the ground, so we're seeing maybe about 50 miles per hour. There's a section right there that could be about 60 miles per hour. So just to the north of Irvington and approaching State Highway 259, that's where you're going to find some of those really strong gusty winds at the moment. But that tornado warning, as you mentioned, is in place until 4:15 p.m. Central Time. As you said, Ben, this is just off to the west of us where that time zone does change, but therefore parts of Meade County, it's until 5:15 p.m. So we're going to be spouting off a couple of different times here as we continue. Yeah,
depending on where you click on that tornado warning, it's going to be an hour off. But if you want to do a comparison here to the huge tornado event that we had on December 10th and into 11th, this is not the same kind of setup. We're not seeing that kind of organized supercells, so we're not seeing a really strong rotation, but we definitely do want to give you a heads up and when there's any chance that a tornado could occur. So that rotation is right here. It has crossed over the river from Perry County, now moving into Breckenridge County. So we've got Irvington here, Mockport, Brandenburg, just out to the west of you guys. So about 5 to 10 miles out to the west of you guys. So you just want to seek shelter at this time, or you've got a little bit of time to prepare, because these are actually slow moving cells. Sometimes we talk about supercells moving at 50 to 60 miles per hour. We're talking about 15 miles per hour. Thanks to this summertime atmosphere, the winds are not real strong through the depth of the atmosphere. And here's the latest track that Alden just put on it. So I want to be seeking shelter here as it moves into your area over the next 10 to 15 minutes in the Lodiburg area, Raymond, Guston, Brandenburg, Laconia, Fort Knox, Fishtown, and into the Bethany area as well. Let's go ahead and do that slicing tool and take a look at how tall this thunderstorm is. The taller the storm, the stronger the updrafts are, and as a result, the stronger the downdrafts can be. And if you get those strong downdraft winds, they can be in excess of 70 or even 80 miles per hour. So we're still seeing the storm tops, as Alden just sliced through it, over 40,000 feet. Typically, you want the storms to be over 25,000 to just get lightning strikes. And when you get the deep purple, that indicates the hail core that can drop out of it and cause some damage to the roof of your home or even the cars. So even if it's not a tornado, you'll definitely want to stay inside, or if you got a little time, maybe get the car inside the garage to protect it. But definitely some hail involved in this supercell thunderstorm that is over the very northern section of Breckenridge County that's going to be moving into the northwestern section of Meade County. So this is, again, out to the, so here's West Point, here's Fort Knox. It's a good 20 miles out to the west of you where we have that area that is under the threat of a tornado right now. So again, that tornado warning goes until 4:15 Central Time and 5:15 Eastern Time. So that's still another 25 minutes that we have this tornado warning on this thunderstorm. Will it last that long? Big question mark there, because we've seen these storms kind of lose energy after a while. Let's take a look at the lightning strikes. We've had an intense amount of lightning with these very strong thunderstorms, severe thunderstorms. It is one after another with these cloud to ground lightning strikes. This doesn't pick up necessarily on the lightning that is going between the clouds and is up in the air. These are the ones that actually hit the ground. So 150 lightning strikes here over the last few minutes inside that big cell right there. It's not alone. We've got some more activity across the area. The entire area, 1,500 lightning strikes. So these are just lightning factories that we have across the area, which of course can be dangerous. And the rule of thumb is if you hear thunder, you just want to head inside. So if you hear those rumbles out there, go ahead and take shelter. It's the safest thing to do. A storm that was over Harrison County, look at Alden, how quickly that collapsed as it moved into Floyd County, if we can zoom in. So I just want to give you an idea of the nature of the cells that we're tracking. They can be huge and monstrous one moment, and then within 10 or 15 minutes they can really lose their energy and lose their punch. So this storm is very strong over central Harrison County, had a warning on it, and now it's just a big heavy rainmaker right now, a healthy downpour. These are some tropical downpours, some big raindrops coming down around Floyd's Knobs into the southern half of Floyd County. So this looks like it'll clip parts of the west end of Louisville and downtown, but it will likely still continue to be on a weakening trend. So these storm cells do have a life cycle. The one to the southwest is still peaking out right now and is still very strong. We are not seeing the good circulation structure that we had earlier, but there still is the possibility of a tornado. So that tornado warning does continue here for northern Breckenridge County. That does include Irvington and then just a little portion of Meade County as well. So still getting some bright colors here. There's the potential, I would say that's more of a microburst signature than a tornado signature at this time. Either way, if you got an EF0, that's winds in excess of 70, or straight line winds, this can do the same kind of damage like the damage we saw around the New Market area in Marion County yesterday. That did do some damage to some sheds and some outbuildings there. So that is the biggest area of concern that we have right now. The wind speed's not incredible at this time, and we certainly hope it'll stay that way, and perhaps we'll continue to lose some of the strength of some of the winds that we have. This would be the area if there was a tornado. We do not have a tornado confirmed on the ground. This is a radar indicated. There are some of the wind speeds that Alden is plotting there, and we've got the rotation here between Union Star and Mystic, and there's Lodiburg and Sample on the left side of your screen over Kentucky 86, and this is going to be moving from Breckenridge County and into Meade County as we expand out just a little bit more.
Ben, I want to give you a quick hail report. This is from a storm off to the east of us near Grafenberg in Shelby County. There was an amateur radio report of golf ball sized hail. So in addition to the heavy rain and the wind, we also are looking at a significant hail threat. So golf ball size is enough to do some damage. So just to be aware of that. So we are looking at some pretty significant hail if you are not experiencing any heavy rain or a tornado threat at the moment like what we're seeing right here. And I don't see any new information, Ben, from the Weather Service on it. But as you've been saying, these storms are going to be going through a bit of a cycle, bit of a life cycle. They're going to maybe weaken a little bit before they pulse back up. And just looking at the velocity product that we have right here, it does appear to be almost more of a straight line threat. We're not really seeing that type of couplet signature that we typically see when you have a greens and blues that are like right next against to each other. It's almost bowing out just a little bit. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that to see if maybe this progresses into a type of boa situation like what we had here in the metro last month. And those can also produce some pretty high wind gusts and some pretty significant damage as well. But just wanted to point it out that golf ball report of hail out in Shelby County, and we can go ahead and
put on that hail product, and it might not be a bow echo, but it might be a microburst or a macroburst. Microburst is wind damage less than 4 kilometers, and when it's bigger than 4 kilometers, it's a macro or bigger burst of damaging winds, which is when the storm kind of collapses and produces those damaging winds. So this is that storm spotter report in Franklin County, just outside of Frankfort, just north of Interstate 64. Golf ball size, possibly even up to ping pong ball size hail is going to be possible, and that can do damage to the roof of your home and the car. And so if you have time, when you get the warning, definitely just a heads up where you can protect the car and protect yourself. yourself and get inside. So this hail core between Benson and Bridgeport, let's do a little experiment here, Alden, and match up the hail core with the correlation coefficient. So it looks like sometimes these hail cores can look like the debris balls that we look at sometimes. So that is the hail core with this tornado warned storm. This is northern Breckenridge County. So this is just southwest of New Amsterdam. Mockport and Brandenburg and Irvington are all just off to the east where we have the most dangerous part of this storm. So there's the hail core, and if you don't mind putting on that correlation coefficient, not seeing really anything. I don't see a debris ball or a debris signature, so most likely we do not have a tornado on the ground at this time. So that is good news as we watch this very, very closely. Still does have a tornado warning on it, so we need to watch it very closely. Let's go do a tour of some of the other cells that we have across the area. Still a very impressive supercell nonetheless. That storm continues to collapse over Floyd County. So we had some reds in here with that. That is turning into just a non-severe downpour over New Albany and over Shively, west end of Louisville. So it looks like downtown will get some of that rainfall there and just some light rain to the northeast. Now up in southern Indiana, we've had a few pop-up thunderstorms here as well. We've got this cell that is not severe over Highway 50 between Brownstown and the Bedford area. So that is not showing any signs of dangerous weather other than just being a garden variety thunderstorm at this time. So as we expand back out, just to give you an overview, we've got a severe thunderstorm watch for the entire area until 8 p.m. As far as warnings go, we've got that one warning in Franklin County, and then we've got this warning that continues in northern Breckenridge County. We've got a cell just to the east of Litchfield that has been firing up, and every one of these we need to watch very closely because that big thunderstorm right there was just like one of these really small ones just about a half hour ago. They can really explode with this highly unstable atmosphere that we have across the area. So this one's just been bubbling up along the western Kentucky Parkway between Litchfield and the Eastview area. And then over Rough River, we've got another area of some heavy rain. Again, these are not severe at this time, just something that we will keep a very close eye on. So as we look up to the north, back to around Louisville and just out to the west is where we have that tornado warning that continues here. But it is not looking as impressive as it was. We can go back to the velocity and just check and see if we've got any extra rotation that's been happening here over the last few minutes. Very intense lightning strikes. Definitely going to be some gusty winds out of this, but I don't see anything that looks like a tornado at this time. We're not seeing any debris coming from it, and that is a look at where there could be a microburst, which could put down some winds in excess of 60 or 70 miles per hour. So that's why there's not only that tornado warning, but the severe thunderstorm warning as well. So right over the Lodyberg area, Freimeyer, right in between Freimeyer and Clifton Mills is where we have the potential of some damaging wind gusts. That is over 261. It's going to be heading basically right now with some damaging wind gust potential there. What was that, 477? We were just in there a little bit closer there. I'm not sure exactly what that was. Let's go back in so we can see that road there real quick, Alden. So we're looking at the threat here near the Raymond area. This route, I don't even remember what that was, if you don't mind. 477, that's what it was. Okay, so heads up there over the Raymond area. You might have some damaging wind gusts. Might get some tree damage out of that. There might be some spotty power outages as well. If there are any, we'll report them to you. Expanding back out, do we have our storm chaser John Humphreys showing any video from the thunderstorms? Just wanted to check in just in case. I know he was heading out that direction.
Just a quick little update here, because we were talking about how that storm that we've been looking at is weakening a little bit. Weather Service confirms that. They're saying that and I'm speaking a little bit more technically here, the rear flank downdraft is surging ahead just a little bit, so that's reducing that risk of a tornado for the time being. It's lowering that risk, but they're still going to be keeping an eye on it because, of course, new ones can form and we see these cycle and replace, and they're also going to continue that tornado warning on it for now, which goes for another 15 minutes. It's also picked up speed just a little bit. It's now moving to the east at 25 miles per hour. So still fairly slow, but it is moving faster than what it was, Ben. And
if you want to check, Alden, we've got all the cameras pointed out toward the west and southwest. I believe our U of L online campus cam has a view towards that direction. We might be able to see some of that darkening sky. And still a little bit far away. We've got some of that raindrops coming down around downtown now from that collapsing supercell that was in Harrison County. It's a lot weaker now as it's moved into Metro Louisville. So this is a look at the dark sky out there. Really, the more clouds, the better. If we can get a lot of debris clouds around the area, that will stabilize the atmosphere. We have temperatures in the 80s. We've got the ingredients for some of these supercells. Alden is moving the camera out towards the southwest, looking over the Jefferson Memorial Forest there and over U of L. So you've got some sunshine surrounding that supercell that's over Meade and Breckenridge counties. That's the direction we're looking off to the southwest from U of L. So things are pretty quiet over Metro Louisville right now. Just some regular old raindrops happening over the city at this time. Severe thunderstorm over Franklin County, over Frankfort. You've got the potential for some large hail there. And then we've got this little area that has the severe thunderstorm, also that tornado warning. This storm getting a bit stronger that we're watching. This is going to likely cross over Rough River in the southern sections of Breckenridge County, and we'll just need to watch that one in case it begins to explode more and more. So we have an atmosphere that is conducive for the development of severe storms and isolated tornadoes, and that's why we have that severe thunderstorm watch until 8 p.m. Severe thunderstorm warning, capable of producing a tornado with that tornado warning here in the northern section of Breckenridge County and a little piece of Meade County just west of Brandenburg, just north of Irvington, goes until 5:15 Eastern time and 4:15 Central time. So that is about 13 more minutes. Latest track on this thunderstorm. There's a lot of threats here, not just a tornado. We've got the hail, we've got frequent lightning strikes, torrential rainfall, blinding rain. So it's just best to stay inside until that passes on over. So heading towards the Davidson area and Fort Knox over the next half hour or so. If it does hold together, these can weaken on a dime within about 10 or 20 minutes. Sometimes these can just collapse. But if it does hold together, it's going to be heading in the direction of Shepherdsville into Mount Washington, Crenshaw, into the Taylorsville area. And eventually, this general activity of thunderstorms might start to clip parts of Metro Louisville as well over the next hour or so. So that is the area of concern right now. Let's go ahead and look at the velocities again. We haven't checked on that in about 5 minutes or so. I'm not seeing any like hook echoes or anything like that. Bright spots is what we look for, and that is an indication where there could be a little spin-up tornado, perhaps, or even just a microburst, downburst of strong winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. Some of the pixels showing right now anywhere from around 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts. So this is going to be heading over 477. Near the Webster area between Freimeyer and Webster. This is the Breckenridge and Meade County line. So those strong winds are going to be crossing right over into Meade County here very shortly and moving between Irvington in Breckenridge County and Painville in Meade County. There's 376, just to give you an idea where we're looking at right now. So this is probably a good 25 miles as the crow flies off to the southwest of Metro Louisville right now, and there is Brandenburg. So some strong winds. The brighter the colors indicates the stronger the winds. So very, very gusty. The potential for some damaging wind gusts out of this supercell moving through northern Breckenridge County. Just got an update. It looks like those winds have pushed now right on top of that county line right there and about to move into Meade County here very shortly. So heads up definitely between Webster and Painville. Just stay in your safe place. Stay away from the doors and the windows in this general area right there where the potential of a little spin-up tornado. That's this little area still under that tornado warning until about 10 more minutes, until 5:15 Eastern time, 4:15 Central time. So there's Kentucky 477, there's 79. So this is starting to move into Meade County. And this, almost all of Meade County is getting some just tropical rainfall and cloud-to-ground lightning strikes one after another. This is a very loud thunderstorm, very gusty winds as well. This little section has gotten a little stronger on the back end of it. And there's, look at 330 lightning strikes. So definitely putting down some powerful lightning strikes here And we will probably be able to hear this thunderstorm pretty soon from Louisville as it's getting a little bit closer. Not too far from Elizabeth and the casino off, just off to the southwest of those areas. Getting a little bit closer to West Point and Fort Knox. There's the northern section of Hardin County, and moving into Brandenburg very soon as well. You're going to get some very heavy rainfall, and watch out for some ponding of water on the roads as well. These are not fast moving storms, so they could produce some localized flooding that will need to be watching out for. That could be a little bit of a concern as well. As this continues to move to the east, heading towards Brandenburg, Fort Knox, Fishtown, Shepherdsville, and the Hillview, Highview area, southern sections of Jefferson County into Bullitt County over the next hour or so. But the cycle of these storms, this thing is peaking right now. There's a good chance that it will eventually rain itself out and just kind of collapse like this one did. If we go slow with this, Alden, you can see that this storm that was in west central Harrison County was just like this one, except notice how quickly it began to collapse, and now it's just basically sprinkles over Louisville. So just a really good idea of the nature of these pop-up supercells. They might last and peak out for a half hour or so and then really diminish and collapse in a matter of 10 or 15 minutes. So this is not going to continue to be as strong as it was as it continues to move off to the east, most likely. We have just a little area that is under that tornado warning that goes for another few minutes, another 10 minutes or so, as it's moving over the Breckenridge and into the Meade County line there. So that's what we have that we're watching most closely. We also have a strong thunderstorm over Franklin County. If you want to scoot over that direction, some very heavy rainfall there. It looks like this one's not quite as strong as it was. If you want to put back on that hail product, I would guess that the hail is quieted down a little bit. We're not seeing those pink and purple colors, so the hail core is much less impressive over Frankfort. So this storm has weakened a bit as it's been moving over the Franklin County area. So severe thunderstorm warning for Franklin County. Severe thunderstorm warning has been expanded to the east of the tornado warned storm. That does still have some hail just north of Irvington. So it looks like the National Weather Service will likely expire this tornado warning, and then we've got the expansion of the severe thunderstorm warning over Brandenburg and much of Meade County. Yeah, Doug.
Ben, our newsroom's been checking in with the sheriff's departments in the counties you've been specifically talking about here at 8 minutes past 5, and we've been talking with Breckenridge and Meade. So far, they're reporting no severe damage at all, no real damage reports coming into the dispatchers. They're not being overwhelmed with calls at the moment, which is always a good sign. As we've seen in the past storms, you get an indication from the authorities there if their dispatchers are being flooded with calls about storms in the area. So far, that is good news. From what we're watching right in the middle of your screen, that's who we've been talking to, as you can see, right where the radar is centered at the moment. Ben?
Thank you, Doug. Yeah, better safe than sorry with some of these warnings. We did get some damage with some of the severe thunderstorm warnings we had yesterday, and some of these storms look stronger than what we had yesterday. And sometimes it takes a little while to get some of those reports as folks stay inside until the danger is over. You look outside the backyard once the storm is gone, and then you see some of that damage. So sometimes these storm reports won't come in until a half hour or an hour after the storms roll on through. So this tornado warning will not last much longer, only about 5 more minutes, or possibly expiring before that. If you want to go ahead and check out the velocity once again, the wind speeds within this supercell right here, we'll check that out again. Not much rotation there near Leopold, but this doesn't look like strong rotation. It looks more like the potential of some downburst winds, straight line winds right over the top of the county line. Here's Breckenridge County, here's Meade County, and most of the wind speeds aren't looking all that crazy at this time, thankfully. So we're looking at 20, 30, 40 mile per hour winds, which for the most part won't do damage, which coincides with what Doug just mentioned. We haven't had really any significant reports of damage out of this storm so far, thankfully. Lots of lightning strikes, might get a few power outages with that. Hundreds of lightning strikes with this big blob of heavy rainfall. The lightning strikes that are at around 393, that's up from last time we checked, so still very strong. Lightning strikes are an indication of how strong the updrafts are and how strong the overall thunderstorm is, so it's still holding on at this time as it's moving into the Mockport area and into Brandenburg. And as it moves kind of slowly, 15 miles to 20 miles per hour, it's going to be eventually heading into the Fort Knox and West Point areas, and maybe clipping parts of southern Harrison County as well. If it does hold together, we'll get some rain and some thunder as well over parts of southwestern Metro Louisville into the Valley Station, Fairdale area, Jefferson Memorial Forest perhaps as well. Non-severe downpours over Interstate 64 around Leavenworth and near Corden again, and just some plain old rain in some spots over Metro Louisville. We're watching the cell that has moved out of Grayson County. It's in western Hardin County. It shows no signs of getting explosive at this time, and we're going to watch this one pretty closely around Fordsville, moving into southwestern Breckenridge County. It's got kind of an interesting shape to it, as you can see right there. So sometimes these cells, for maybe only 5 or 10 minutes, can get these little notches, and that can put down a quick little spin-up tornado or possibly some damaging straight-line winds. So we're going to watch that very closely. Back to the severe thunderstorm warning in Meade County. This one goes until, I'm guessing, what, 5:45 Eastern time, 6 p.m. So this goes for about 45 minutes, this severe thunderstorm warning for southern Harrison County and into much of Meade County. So the potential of wind gusts in excess of 60 miles per hour is why you get a severe thunderstorm warning. Also the potential of hail up to about quarter in size. So very strong thunderstorm working here southwest of Louisville. Notice since about a half hour ago we've been tracking this. It is getting closer to Metro Louisville. We're seeing Valley Station within the view here now, so we're likely going to see some heavy rainfall from that. Definitely watch out if you're hopefully not traveling through it, but if you have to travel through this, you're going to have to watch out for some ponding of water, as this is some torrential rainfall happening between Irvington and Brandenburg into Meade County. And very soon this is going to be the threatening area of this storm is out of northern Breckenridge County, by the way. That is just some regular old heavy rainfall there. It's this general area that could be packing some strong and some damaging, isolated damaging wind gusts. So pretty quiet over Metro Louisville at the time and over Bullitt County, but this mess of a storm, if it holds together, could be impacting parts of both Bullitt and Jefferson County over the next half hour to an hour, which we'll be watching here very closely. We do have that severe thunderstorm watch over all of the area until 8 p.m. You just, if a warning is issued, we'll get it to you immediately. You just want to stay away from the doors in the windows. And we're going to get back to our regular 5 o'clock newscast here very, very soon, as that threat of a tornado, I think, Alden, has really diminished. And we're going to be watching out for some of these pop-up severe thunderstorms over the next several hours. Again, that watch until 8 p.m. So we'll still have the threat of some strong and dangerous storms over the next couple of hours, and we'll have information crawling at the bottom of your screen if that threat continues across the area. But let's go ahead and get to our broadcast here, Doug.
All right, Ben, thank you very much. And right now we are going to begin with WHAS 11 News at 5 o'clock here at 14 minutes past 5. And we'll get back to our First Alert Storm team. They are on standby, keeping a watch on that weather. It is now moving closer to the Metro Louisville area. But the good news, it is, by the way, it is a hail producer. I've been seeing pictures from people posting of ping pong size hail, as they are describing it, in some parts of central Kentucky. And as that storm weakens a bit as it comes closer to Louisville,